this video is gonna be a little darker, like visually and content-wise. Okay, basically I'm going to share my experience with like ghosts and stuff. It's not like I'm being serious, and I want you to comment if the algorithm actually presents this video to more than like 50 people. That would be great, because I want to hear other people's experiences as well. I think it's important to share, and it's important to kind of know like these things happen, and if anybody has, you know, similar experience, it would be amazing to share. So I'm going to talk about like the encounters with like ghost or whatever, and I don't mean like oh, I heard a noise. I mean, that's kind of part of it, but I'm gonna talk about like actually something physical happened and kind of like tangible. It's not just like, oh yeah, I heard the footsteps, like I did, but you know, it's not the whole story. So it's like legit, like, and I was not alone, so you know, we all heard it. And if you know, experience something like that and you think, oh my god, am I crazy, like it's for real. I always kind of believe that stuff. However, I'm a big fan of horror films, and I was always like, nah, it's just like in the horror films. And you know, I kind of believe that, but also thought why it never happened to me personally. So long story short on like who it was my friend. He had like an accident, and basically he was in coma. And this was 7 years ago. And he was in coma in a hospital. And there was a house with the garden that he lived in, his girlfriend, my apartment was at the bottom, he was in the middle, and his parents, blah, 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 was upstairs. So we were all kind of like together. He's in a coma, right? Basically, the doctors told us like he's already kind of dead. Like it's just like, you know, the machine breathing for him, and like, you know, he's gone basically. It's just not official yet. So yes, he was gone. We went back home, and like we're sitting just, you know, around the table, just like this one, talking, you know, and we hear like a key in a front door, like somebody's trying to like unlock the door. And the door, you know, was actually unlocked, but we could hear like the key in the hole. The door was, you would go like outside of the kitchen, there was the hallway, and then there was the front door. So it wasn't like 5 meters away from us. You had to go through like, you know, the hallway. But we could hear it very clearly because it was like evening, you know. And we kind of looked at each other, would be like it's not locked. Why the person, because, you know, her parents were upstairs. So we thought it's them coming in. We thought, why are they trying to like unlock the door, which is unlocked? And my friends were like kind of like, oh, you know, like this has been kind of happening like the whole day. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, we hear someone at the door, but there's nobody there. And I'm like, what do you mean nobody? Like, you know. And they were like, no, like that's been happening like literally the whole day. And then like nothing. And then like we hear as if like somebody like opened the door and closed it. And we were all of us were like looking this direction because we thought, no, this is their parents. Like this is her parents, you know, like now somebody's going to show up in the hallway, you know, because we heard like you open the door, you close the door. And we're kind of waiting and staring. and nobody was there. And we're like, okay, what was that? And we, I always said like, oh, maybe, one of your parents just came in, dropped something, like, I don't know, and then left. And my friends were like, yeah, but this is happening like the whole day. I'm like, oh, stop it. Okay. It continued. And when it happened, like, I don't know, the third time, when it like opened and basically kind of slammed, I ran across through the hallway within like a couple of seconds, opened the door, the front door, and I'm looking around. Like, if there was a person doing this, like their parents, but like for no reason, I would see them, right? Because I was so fast. And I'm looking, there's nobody around, like nobody. And like even the stairs, like you couldn't hear anybody walking. And I'm just looking and just being like there's nobody here. Okay, close the door. And I'm making sure like it's closed. There's no wind, nothing. I go back, I sit down, and like 2 minutes later, the same thing. And at this point I was like, this is ridiculous. And my friends were like, yeah, leave it. Like that's, like we know it's him. And I was like, okay. So basically, I don't know if this was like 1 day or 2 days later. It was, something around like evening or a day. I don't remember exactly. It's a blur. A little bit, not the experience that follows. In the same room, right? We're talking with my friend, and just having a conversation. And she and her boyfriend, who is now in coma, they had a bunny. And the bunny had a toy. And it was a wooden, kind of like a horse on a wheel, on wheels. Like, old school Eastern European kids used to have. So that was a toy. And he liked to like push it, and the wheels would go, and it was so cute. And the toy was like here, like on the ground. And I was sitting here and my friend here. And we're talking, right? And all of a sudden, the toy, which has 4 wheels, so like 100% balance, just like falls on the side, like literally 4 wheels, and it just does like falls on the side. And my friend saw it directly. I kind of saw it with like, different angle, but she saw it like directly, and she was like staring. She was like staring at the toy. And I'm like, what? And she was like, didn't you hear? Like the toy just fell. And I'm like, yeah, it was your bunny. And she was like, the bunny's there. And I'm like, and the bunny was like 7 meters away in its cage. And then I looked at the toy, and I'm like, okay, this was probably like the biggest kind of proof, right? Because like I talked about this with my friend, and we were like, there is no way, like physically, like the door, the same thing, but we didn't see it. However, the toy, like there was no draft, nothing. Trust me, we went over what could cause this, like rationally. But because that toy, there's no way it was like inclined, nothing. It's 4 wheels, like it's balanced, and all of a sudden it just falls on the side. Like, it makes no sense. So this was like the biggest thing. Well, okay, he's still in coma, right? Just mind that. He's still in coma. And then the day or the night or 2 nights later, because he was in coma like 5 days, I think. That was something that still kind of freaks me out when this happens, because it kind of happens from time to time. And I think this is something that we can all agree on, and many people experience that. So, I mean, my friend's parents were saying like, oh yeah, we heard the footsteps, we heard like noises from your apartment, and we messaged you like, oh, do you want to like come to have some dinner? And you messaged us back like, I'm not home. Like, so that was kind of weird, but I wasn't part of that. Like, I didn't hear that myself, but they kept saying it. But I know that the toy was super creepy. Like, I still cannot believe this happened. But for me, something that just sometimes still happens, and it happened today as well, and that's why I want to bring it up, like the whole video. Me and my friend, but not the girlfriend of the guy in coma, but her sister, my very good friend as well. That was like midnight or something. And we were sitting outside and talking and basically, having a couple of drinks, and all like we're talking, and the garden it's a huge garden, and the front kind of place, like the area next to the house, is a bit more kind of like rocky. So it's like there's a pavement, and there is the wall, which looks like from Roman Empire or something. It's like a wall made of like rocks where you can sit, but also like it's a grill and all that. And behind that wall, there's actual garden with like big grass area and like plants and vegetables and all that. But there is like a wall in between. Not like high, but kind of like, you cannot see behind. And me and my friend, we're drinking a little bit, talking, and like it's a night, so it's like pitch black. And we hear footsteps from the other side of that wall. And we kind of like, we're talking, and all of a sudden we're like looking at each other like what's that? And the whole thing is the whole property is fenced, it couldn't be a person. And I'm like, maybe it's the cats. Like, the cats were coming, a lot for like food and stuff like that, like even wild cats. I mean, not like Africa wild cats, but like, cats living outside. And we were kind of like, okay, maybe it's the cats. So we kind of ignored it. And like 5 minutes later, it did it again. And we were just like, it started being more intense. And I freaked out personally when a branch from the tree cracked on the ground, because that's not a cat. Cat is not as heavy. Like, what other animal would that be? Like, how can you crack a branch like that kind of weight level? This is where I kind of freaked out. I was like, this is like, I was like so scared. And to top that, here's my point. The smell. And this is what happened to me as well today. So I'm kind of talking about it. The cologne. So we're sitting outside, right? We hear this noise. And then all of a sudden, I smell his cologne. Like, it's like 1 a.m., pitch black, everybody's sleeping. We're sitting outside in the garden, right? And I smell his cologne, like, heavy. And I didn't want to, like, say it to my friend. I was like, I'm just going crazy, you know? And I'm kind of just, like, sitting, you know, and just be, like, looking around, thinking, who the hell, like, what, like, how, where, from where it's coming from. And she's like looking at me like, what you're doing? I'm like, I don't want to freak you out because we hear those noises, but like I can smell his cologne, like for real. And she's like, me too. And I'm like, so I'm not going crazy. She's like, no, like it's so strong and it's his. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, that was real. Everybody's sleeping, right? Like, it's just there's no explanation. It's just ridiculous. And so we heard the noises, and then we smelled the cologne. And at that point, we were so freaked out. We were like, okay, I'm going to sleep. And she was like, me too. And we ran away, and we ran to our flats to sleep because like we couldn't bear like what just happened. So yeah, that's the overall story. And I'm looking at the cloud outside, and that cloud looks like a bunny. Like, I'm not even joking. You know, people who experience something like that know exactly what I'm talking about. People who haven't are like, yeah, she's making it up, or everything has an explanation. No, because, yeah, it's not explained, like, you can't explain that, because there were so many things. So, yeah, let me know in the comments what are your experiences with this, so we can maybe find a common ground, just be like, oh yeah, you know, it's real. But that's my personal experience. I'm very happy that it happened when I had the witnesses, you know, everybody actually experienced the same thing. I also want to add that all these things, because it didn't happen every time somebody died, you know, that I knew. And I think it can be related to, like, the space in between. I don't know if you watched the film Ghost, but I mean, if you haven't, hello. Patrick Swayze, Whoopi Goldberg. So, like, there's this place where, like, the dead person, if it's like an accident or something that, you know, is not resolved yet, or maybe they're in coma, so they're not like officially dead yet, the soul, like the ghost or the soul, is like, starts wandering, like, and that person like may not realize they're dead. And like, because they're still tied to the body and the heart is beating, they cannot leave. So now they're in between the world of living and dead. And this is why I think it happened, like the physically, like the toy, the door, you know, because there was like that place in between. And when he actually died, like 5 days later, everything went quiet. It was even more freaky. Like, it was just like silence, nothing like that. Months later, what kept repeating was the smell, the cologne. This was kind of slightly there, like on repeat. But again, nothing like physical, you know, like the door, the toy, all nothing like that. So you can say like, oh, you know, somebody like my grandma died and, you know, nothing happened like that. Yeah, but it also depends like how that person died and whether they are in this space in between or not. And then you can have like, you know, dreams, or I have people telling me like right before their, I don't know, parents died or something like that. Oh, I saw them standing next to my bed, you know, and it felt like a dream, but was it? You know, so like I know about these experiences, but I feel like when it's like physical, like the one that I experienced, that's the space in between, right? So it would be good to know whether you have similar experience with that sort of thing, and we can investigate together. Let me know, and yeah, like this video if you like it, subscribe, but mostly comment because I want to know